Hello, my name is Smee, and I'm the Chair of University Programs at the Dauphin Island Sea Lab. I'm also an Associate Professor in the Department of Marine Science at the University of South Alabama. Today I want to talk to you about a project I did where we looked to understand how hurricanes change fishing and the consequences for recovery after storms. One of the most exciting developments in ecology in the last 50 years or so has been the discovery of widespread trophic cascades. And what trophic cascades really mean is that predators at the top of the food chain control the abundances of organisms at intermediate trophic levels, and then that has consequences for things at the basal trophic levels in an ecosystem. So if you think about it like wolf eats elk and elk eats grass, so if we take the wolf out of the equation, the elk become too numerous, they eat all the grass, and things fundamentally change. In marine systems, top predators are often things like sharks and dolphins, but it turns out that many sport fish also play a key role as top predators in estuaries. One of the ways people really affect estuarine food webs is through fishing. You know, recreational anglers target sport fish. They're often successful at catching them, and they remove an important trophic level. And of course, those things that those fish eat, like small crabs that prey on oysters, then can become more abundant if fishing is too excessive and too many fish are harvested. As you know, hurricanes are powerful storms, and they have the ability to destroy coastal communities, resulting in billions of dollars in economic damages and often loss of human life. They can also be harmful to marine ecosystems, destroying marine habitats through wind, but also through bringing lots of rainfall that rapidly lowers salinity. And organisms like oysters that can't move, are subjected to low salinity, and they often perish. Unfortunately, Hurricane Harvey struck the Texas coast in August of 2017 near Rockport. I had been studying oyster reefs in this area for more than 10 years, and the hurricane passed directly over my primary field site. When it did that, it destroyed boat ramps, docks, vessels, and it really wrecked the local area. And it fundamentally reduced fishing pressure there for 3 or 4 months while people took time to clean up and rebuild. Hurricane Harvey then moved north, and it dropped record-setting rainfall in Houston, Texas, which flowed downstream into Galveston Bay. So in Galveston Bay, the salinity rapidly changed, resulting in high oyster mortality and disruption of marine organisms there due to salinity changes. This process also happened in the Mission-Aransas National Estuarine Research Reserve where I was working. This is Aransas Bay and Copano Bay, primarily on the Texas coast. But in Rockport, all the fishing pressure had been removed, which allowed us to then study what happens to marine food webs with and without fishing pressure. What we see in both systems is that whenever or after the storm hits, the number of fishermen in Aransas Bay declines by almost 75% in the 3-month window around when we're doing our study. So in Galveston Bay, we don't see this change in fishing pressure. In fact, fishing pressure was highest right after the hurricane, the year after the storm. In Aransas Bay, it was significantly lower. Corresponding to changes in fishing pressure, we see abundances of the 2 most common sport fish targeted and caught, spotted sea trout and red drum, commonly called redfish. Those populations increase significantly. Ultimately, all the things that they eat in the food web, things like croaker and spot and small crabs and other things, are also significantly reduced in the Mission-Aransas area where sport fish are high and fishing pressure has been removed. And we don't see these changes in Galveston Bay. Now, in my study in oyster reefs, one of the things that hampers oyster reef recovery or prevents successful establishment of reefs is predation by intermediate or mesopredators, primarily mud crabs in this area. After the storm, the mud crabs were significantly less abundant, and we attribute this to higher numbers of fish in the study area due to the reduction in fishing. So even though the hurricanes are bad, and it did a lot of destruction, in a way they actually facilitated recovery in that ecosystem by removing humans and thus alleviating fishing pressure.